Happy Friday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. Another episode of You Gotta Be Sha Tinning Me. Joined as always by Matt Carlson. Matt, you cracked open the beer right before we started.
Did.
What you got there?
It's a little local, nothing too special. It's called Counterweight. Get it in focus. It's a brewery probably about 30 minutes from me, and it's like their go-to, like New England style IPA, but it's cheap. It's good. It's just one of those things that you can get it. Actually, they do a pretty good job of like local distribution, so like you can find it at restaurants, stuff like that. But a 12 or a 4 pack is like $13-14 for a pretty decent beer.
That's not
So
bad.
it's good on the wallet. And the way I've been running lately at some of these US tracks, I need to save every dollar I can. So it gets the job done. But it's 7%. And it's if you're in the Northeast area, I'm sure you probably either had it or it's worth a try if you're ever in my neck of the woods. So
Yeah, I remember back when Anheuser-Busch first bought Goose Island, maybe like a year or two after, when they really started ramping up the production of like their quote unquote flagship beers. Which is funny to me because I've always thought, I mean, for me, Goose Island's always been the barrel aged stuff, but their flagship beers like their Goose Island IPA 312, Green Line, and they had a couple others that they just like started pumping the heck out of it. They stopped brewing it in Chicago and they started brewing it in New York and one of their big breweries out there. But when they first started doing it, they put out 4-pack pints of, I forget if it was Green Line or Goose Island IPA, it might have been both, but the 4-pack of pints was $6, right? And then you think about like not that long ago, the real popular price for like 4-pack IPAs was like what, $15? Now I feel like some of them approaching 20, but
approaching.
Yeah, but like
around me, it's like 30.
Yeah, but it's
crazy.
funny, like because like you would see 12. This was back in the day of like the $10 6-pack, right? The now, like I said, that's probably approaching $12. But yeah, they would have the 4-pack of pint cans for $6, and I was like, well, it's like I think I'm drinking Goose Island IPAs tonight. Because I don't know. I've always, when I'm drinking something, and I'm going to say lighter, but when I'm drinking like a normal beer, I don't know. I always just prefer the pint size. Sometimes I feel like 12 ounces isn't enough for like an IPA or something like that. I like the bigger glass, but
yeah, it's funny though, because like now you barely see 12-ounce cans, and like sometimes during the week I'm like, all right, I can't crack a full pint, or like I don't really want to be sitting there, and if it's late or you just want to have something small, I kind of miss the 12-ounce craft a little bit sometimes, but yeah, it's goes in directions, it goes in waves. So
yeah, I what did I have today? I had a dark Czech lager from Revolution called Progress. That was very good. I'm a big fan of dark lagers, so that was really good. And then I followed that up with a Michelob Ultra. So I am basically I'm on a pitch count as of about 2.5 months ago. So yeah, about 2 beers is about the max I can handle in a night. So tomorrow is our board game night with my buddies. We have a monthly board game meeting, and that's normally the time that I bring out the heavy hitters, because then I can drink like, I can split that 12-ounce can, 4 ways, and it. Goodness gracious. Sorry, I just looked at a notification in Discord that was just absolutely insane.
I feel like I got the same one, but I'm assuming I know what it is. That is nice.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, big shout out to our buddy Rubes, who apparently just hit the pick 5 at Turfway for 11K. So big shout out to him. Hopefully he listens. If not, I'm sure PDT will send it along. But goodness
If
gracious.
if you hear me furiously clicking, it's adding as many emojis as possible to the screenshot of the ticket. So big shout out there. He hit 5 more races than I did in that sequence. So
And
that
what
place
was
makes
that?
no damn sense to me.
Was that a $12 ticket?
It looks like it. I don't know if he scaled it or if that was like a
Oh man, that's just
B or
nuts.
what, but
That's nuts.
yes, that's a lot more money than I've ever gotten out of that place. So
Yeah, Turfway Park, like we have. There's a bunch of people in our circle of friends that just understand that place. Like I wish I understood any track. It's amazing what I've seen people do at that track, and I hope that at some point, like there's like big, we're gonna go back to the Bush days of trickle down economics. I'm hoping that like trickle down handicapping or knowledge happens eventually, and like just it eventually clicks. But yeah, that's a huge hit there. Wow. I haven't been I don't even remember what I was talking about before I saw that. Oh goodness. But yeah, but so it's our game night. I got a bunch of Revolution beers in the fridge. But like it's way easier those big beers when you split them, you know,
yeah,
3-4
yeah,
ways, and it's like like 3 ounces a piece, 4 ounces a piece, and then you can get through like 4 or 5 of them. Whereas like now I could probably, if I opened up a 12-ounce can, like that's probably all I don't even know if I'd finish it at this point. Not to get like too personal, but this medication I'm on for which is basically the pill form of Ozempic. I mean, if you want to talk about something that takes the absolute joy out of eating and drinking, I have the pill for you, my friend, because man, like the other day I was out with my wife and one of my coworkers, and we went out to Revolution, and I wasn't feeling great. I had real bad heartburn, and so like, drinking is obviously not the thing to do on heartburn. So I had 2 samples when I was at Revolution. I was trying to be good, but dude, I had been craving a hamburger so bad for like the last month. And I've been doing really good on my diet, like not eating any junk food, not whatever, being just really diligent. And finally, we go to this place called Kuma's Corner in Chicago, which is like a heavy metal like place that is known for their burgers. And I was like super excited to get a burger. No joke, Matt. I took 3 bites out of that burger. I was full. I couldn't eat anymore. I wanted to eat more, but I was already so sickly full from like 3 bites out of the burger. I had to take it home. Dude, it literally took me 2 additional days to eat that burger. Like if you want it, like if anybody here like has met me before and has seen the amount of food that I can ingest and eat, I can take 3 bites out of a burger now. Like it is absolutely sickening. And then, like I said, the same thing with beer and like alcohol. Like usually after I have like one scotch or like one whiskey, I like just do not want anymore. Like I just feel gross. Like I'll tell you, people talk about it being like a miracle drug, and like I kind of like at some point, I want to do like the meme, like, but at what cost, especially as somebody who like really enjoys like food and like,
yeah.
it's tough, right? Like, I mean, as you get older, you got to make changes, right? My genetics have not helped my health as of late, but I mean, heck, I've lost like 40 pounds.
I was gonna say,
So I
I
mean, it's
mean,
doing it's doing
it's
something,
working, right? It's doing its job. So you
Oh
know,
man.
kudos to you, man. I mean, you're looking good. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just, man. I'll tell you, there's just some days where like I have like 3 granola bars and some yogurt, and like that's all I eat the entire day because I just like don't want to eat anything else. Like it's just like it's incredible. Like and I'm not even on the max dosage yet. So I don't even know what's going to happen when that gets ramped up. I'm thinking that the doctor's going to keep me on this one for a couple of months, and then we'll see what happens. But
Mm.
yeah, it's crazy, man. Like some of the just some medicine and stuff. Like when you think about like the way it changes your body, and like you actually like I said stop and think, it's nuts. And like the other another crazy thing when you stop and think about it is how many horses they have at Sha Tin and how they manage to have full fields on a frequent basis. But we have a good card tomorrow. We have a really good card tomorrow. We got some Group One races, but obviously we always do the late pick three here. So we're going to be after the big races here, but. Yeah, we got some big full fields. We got what 13 horses. We got 14 horses, and I think we got 12 with a couple of oh no, the 14 with a couple of AEs. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on these races because my first pass through them, I kind of A/B'd through them, and I don't know. I feel like this could chalk out, but I feel like every time I say it could chalk out, that
That's
just
that's a
something
death
absolute,
sentence, right?
yeah, something absolutely insane happens. So, race 8, we're going to be going a mile, and this is class 3 racing. So I'm kind of curious. Where do you land here?
Yeah, I thought this was a challenging race, and I tried to narrow it down, but I think you could probably make an argument for over half this field, right? And this is super competitive. I guess we'll get the obvious choice out of the way first. I think the 12 Bieto is, probably going to be your favorite. I think that horse jumping up off the class rate, it's been consistent all season. Coming off the break since September. The horses just run incredibly well. And you kind of seen it. It obviously handled the increase in distance for a couple races, and I think there's probably not too much concern jumping up to class 3 here. So that horse probably goes off favored and is the obvious choice. I don't know how much else I need to talk about it other than just to say it's probably a deserving favorite. So that's probably the one A that I had first and foremost. Um, I guess the other A that I had, I'll continue my trend of picking up your trash and bet the 8 Friend Tank
I
because
mean,
this is
I
the
don't know
horse
if you're
that
picking
you
up trash here, but
it's the horse that you picked last week on the all weather, and I kind of poo pooed it and was like, it's Frankel. I don't really see Frankel on an all weather. So hey, now it's not running on the all weather, and I like it. So I think TBD, right? It's doing a little something different, right? It's obviously coming off the all weather, coming back to turf, which, like I said last week, Frankel, that makes sense to me. Normally, I guess, frankly, you'd think 2 turns, and that's where it's been running. But if you look kind of back in the form, I think its better races were the first couple races it ran going 1 turn. I don't know how far back the form actually goes, but the first couple races it ran, were at I think a mile or so. I'd have to double check that, but hey, I think it's worth a shot, and I think it looks like it's coming around in form, and I think getting back to turf, maybe it pops, and so maybe you get a decent price on a pretty good horse that's kind of muddied up based on what it's been doing lately. So those are the two A's that I had. Beyond that, I think you can make a case for the 5, the 6, the 11, the 7, maybe even. Out of those four, I tried to narrow it down, and I think I took the 6, Sweetbriar. It a lot of horses in here are picking up weight because they're coming off wins. I think, to me, out of the horses that I think have a chance and kind of fit just on their running lines, the 6, kind of stays the same weight. It kind of maintains where it was, and that might be an advantage in here just because everyone else is kind of picking up extra weight. Um, the other horses that I thought had a chance, they're either picking up, kind of massive weight, like the 11's picking up 9 pounds. Um, the 5 Soleil Fighters drawn out the 12 posts. So I'm cutting those for cost, but I think also you could probably make a case if you were looking at them too. So 8 and the 12 is the A's, and then the 6 Sweetbriar as a B is ultimately where I ended up. And probably will be a little bit wider in the other races too. So really was trying to narrow it down.
yeah, I mean, we've basically I think we probably cursed the 8 and the 12 in this race. I have the
Yep,
12 as my lone.
absolutely.
I have the 12 as my lone A. So Zach Purton, I don't know if he can actually get down to 118 pounds. So the PPs even have a +2 noted in there because
Already.
I think they think that he's going to be overweight, 2 pounds overweight. This is where Joe Moreira, I think, was really good, is because I think he could get down to like 116, 118. So he would pick up a lot of those like really, really low weight mounts. But yeah, the fact that Zach's staying, they're keeping Zach aboard when they know he probably is not going to make the weight. It's getting a huge weight drop too. It's going from 130 down to 118 off a win. It is going to be positioned well in mid pack for what's going to be kind of a mid pack. I think a mid pack move. So yeah, I think the 12. It just all the bells and whistles, right? It makes a ton of sense. Has got a nice closing kick, is drawn decently enough, is got keeps Zach aboard, and is losing 12 pounds, maybe only 10. But yeah, I think he makes a ton of sense. And obviously the 8, Frantank, which you'd already talked about. I had him originally as another A. I think I'm going to move him as a B just because I feel like the 12 is going to be so short that I got to leverage it up a little bit. But yeah, this looks like to be your lone leader, lone speed horse in this race. And it's doing something that I like to see speed do. It's cutting back. So it's going from, you see the all weather races there, that are going a mile, but you kind of got to think that, hey, that's a completely different surface. Maybe they're trying to build some kind of fitness into the horse or something, or maybe they couldn't find any mile races. Maybe this is the plan all along, is to try and cut this horse back. Like you said, Frankel, why you would pay that much money for a horse and then put it on dirt. It doesn't make a ton of sense. But if you look at this horse's other turf races where he's gotten the lead, he was getting caught, near the end in those last couple races. And he was going 2,000, he was going 1,800. Now he's going 1,600. So I think, that one less furlong is going to help here. Gets a bug aboard as well to help with that weight, so down to 115, which I think, like we talked about a little bit before, when routing always helps. And what's also interesting to see here is this horse is coming off a 7-day layoff. And I was doing a little bit of research earlier today, and I believe this trainer actually does this move every once in a while, and is actually pretty successful with it. It's tough to pull. I don't have those stats in front of me. It was more like something I heard, through other handicapping coverage and stuff for this. So, maybe this is the plan all along. Is, hey, we finally got a 1,600 race we can get into in the right. In this is like the right spot for this horse. So, yeah, I really like the 8. You already mentioned it, and those are the only two horses I'm going to use. I'm going to use the 8. I'm going to use the 12. I'm not going to get too wide here, because I am probably going to use the favorite, and maybe we'll get a little bit of price on this 8. Maybe a mid price. Maybe we'll get 4-1, 5-1 on here. But anything else you want to talk about in here?
I don't think so in here. Yeah, like I said, I mean, beyond that, if one of those 2 or 3 horses don't win, I think it's open. So I could make an argument for beyond that going a lot of cases, but I'm with you. I think those 2 horses stand out. So.
You know what else is open? A new promotion at AM Wager, apparently for Hong Kong
That it
tomorrow.
is.
I think you had mentioned that there's a nice little bonus there on AM Wager. If you guys do not have an AM Wager account, obviously you can sign up through us at the link in the description. It's yeah, we don't really get it's kind of like, hey, if you guys play through it, if you guys like it, we get a little bit of the vig that goes in there. We right now we haven't really had much go through there, but it helps us out without really you having to do anything. It's not
Yeah.
if you're gonna bet anyways. I mean, bet through aim wager, you get pretty decent rewards through them. And I know through other, without being a big player is probably one of the easiest and best rebates you can get. So
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, I play all my money through there for Hong Kong because I think you're one of the only shops that actually gives a rebate on Hong Kong, right?
yeah,
Like I know most of those shops that give a lot of domestic rebates, they have a lot of negotiations, don't give anything for Hong Kong, right? So, it's something, and even if you were to get rebates somewhere else, it probably wouldn't extend to here. So, Amway is one of the best for that. And then, like you mentioned, right, tomorrow they're giving out 20% up to $50 on all exotic wagers, right? So that actually brings it into a plus EV play for all, exotics that you're playing. So if you're playing Quinellas, etc., if you're playing Exactas through there, you're getting a bonus 20% on that. That actually makes it a player's advantage for you. So, hey, why not throw some money on there, right? It's free money
yep,
if you're playing it right. So
yep.
I'll
So
turn it
use
down.
yep use our link in the description, and then I believe you get 100%. I believe it's 100% sign up bonus up to $150. So check that out. It's linked below. And yeah, we don't really plug stuff that actually may get us money very often. So we figured we'd toss that in there. They're also doing something for Saudi Cup tomorrow as well. So if you guys are watching this on Friday night, you can get your early morning Saudi Cup action in on there. Matt, have you looked at Saudi Cup at all?
I have not
No.
one bit. Of course, I capped the later races first, and then work my way backwards through the day. So these are these are the last three races I will bet tomorrow out of a very very long day between starting with some Aussie racing tonight, Saudi tomorrow, domestic racing. I think the Rebels going on tomorrow at Oaklawn, and so this will be the end of a very long stretch. One of those Le Mans of racing days. So
I've
well,
always thought of a handicapping tournament where it was like morning to night, where it starts with it's got to be like a big day at like Gulfstream, like where they start at like 10 Eastern, right? Where like the first race is at like 10 Eastern, and so that would be like 9 Central or whatever, and it goes all the way through like the fourth race at Hong Kong, which is probably like what 1 o'clock Eastern in the morning Eastern.
yeah, 1:30.
Yeah, I just always thought that would be so great, like just like a live, like, and it have to be live, right? Just to like add that extra, like, just absolute degeneracy to it, because I definitely have done that before. I think on New Year's actually, my wife and I were up until like the seventh race at Hong Kong,
Wow.
just firing. We were just firing, dude. It was yeah. She has made it her goal now to win a race at Hong Kong, to get a winner there, because she's not yet, and it's kind of bothering her because I think this is the coldest she's ever been at any
Florida,
point.
tell to like and follow. We're giving them some out. We're not doing too bad here.
Um, anyways, race 9. We're gonna be going 6 furlongs here. Once again, Class 3 racing, and I looked at this race. I really wanted to get around the Zach Purton horse, the 3, and I just couldn't. This horse, if he runs any of his last 3 races, I mean, he just looks super super tough in this spot. Is going to be really short, so I think there is value in getting around this horse. But I don't know. I couldn't see a way around this horse. He just looks heads and shoulders better than anything else in this race. I did have a lone B, and that's the 7 Ace Victory here. And this was kind of once again, just thinking about the pace, thinking about the fact that this horse, was won last time on the engine, going 6 furlongs, and coming back here, same trip, same course, different jockey. But now you're getting 12 pounds off. You are drawn wide, drawn in the 10 post, which is not ideal. But, I think with the low weight, and I mean, I think there's a good chance that the horse could probably even still clear from the 10. I think the other maybe speed is the three. Not the three has shown some speed, but Zach has kind of sat off with this horse the last couple times. Maybe the one has got a little bit of speed, but he's drawn in the 7 post. He's not like drawn on the rail or anything. But yeah, I thought the 7 made a little bit of sense here. I know up in class losing Zach, but you get the 2 pound bug here, and as long as the bug like knows to be aggressive with this horse and can get this horse out of the gate, I thought he made a ton of sense in this spot. So I'm gonna just be a lone A with this 3, and I'm gonna use the 7 Ace Victory as a B.
Yeah, I'm with you on both those. I think, I had some concerns with the 3. Obviously, it's picking up 10 pounds, but look, that horse hasn't done anything wrong. It hasn't missed the board yet. We talked about that, exotic wager bonus. If you're going to key something, hey, key some chalk, put this in a Quinella or, through an exacta and, take your plus EV play and run, right? This is the obvious one, and free money's free money. So this might be a good spot for it. Same thing with the 7. I thought the last run was huge, right? Look on paper, and that horse is breaking from the 12 post, right? It clears. The track wasn't playing forward that day. It's not a slow pace, and it still just kind of wires him all the way around. I guess my concern there, right, much like you had, was the class jump. It's picking up, kind of middle weight into a new class. That's tough, right? Horses in class 4 obviously are in class 4 because they don't pass as well as horses in class 3, and so you can wire a lot easier down in class 4 than you can here. But hey, it has a lot against it last time, and it met all the challenges. So to me, I think that was a use, and I probably moved that one down to a B. The only other horse I think that stuck out to me was the 14 Ruby Lot, right? And I've always said, if whenever in doubt, right, low weight, low draw is the best place to be, and that obviously has both, right? It's got Karis Teton, it's got 118, it's running at 118, it's breaking from the 1 post. And I think the best races have really come at this configuration. I think, if you look, it's been running the straights at 5 furlongs the last couple times. Arguably last time, it was running the bad part of the track on those straight races, and still showed a fair bit of pickup to get home, right? So, if it can pass horses at 1,000 in the bad part of a track, who's to say it can't at 6 furlongs too? So, to me, I think I made that one an A just on the circumstances alone, right? If you like a couple horses, but they're picking up a lot of weight, they don't have great draws. Always go back to the tried and true: play the low weight, play the low draw, and hope for the best. And I think this horse has enough ability to probably show something. So, from a price play perspective, I think I'll put a fair bit of money through this 14 Ruby Lot, along with the horses you mentioned, the 3 and the 7.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We're gonna close it out with the unicorn distance as always, 1,400 meters, Class 3 racing, the old 7 furlong sprint here, and you know, I think once again, I don't think I was very very creative in this race. Uh, when I look at these the horses in this race, I see 2 really lightly raced horses that have run really well in their lone starts. And I think I'm going to use both of them. And that's the 4 Young Champion and the 7 Illuminous. The 7 Illuminous won on debut at a huge price at 19 to 1 last time out. Was slow out of the gate, but was able to go ahead and close in a very, very respectable 21.88 and 22.61. Is going to go a little bit longer here. Is adding another furlong here. Keeps Karis Teton aboard. I thought that that horse ran super well in its debut, and no reason why it couldn't run well here. Maybe you're a little concerned about the draw out in the 11 post, but if you want someone that's a little bit more inside, you do have the 4 Young Champion, who is a another horse that ran really well in that same race. and ran second by half length. And yeah, like the same thing. It keeps McDonald aboard. Is going to sit mid pack. Is drawn a little bit better. And they both, neither of them really gained all that much weight coming into this race. Well, Lunas did gain 8 pounds, but they're sitting in mid weight in this spot. So yeah, I like both of them here facing this competition. I mean, I think the very clear outlier in this race is the 5 Green and White, who's been the favorite the last 2 times, 4 out of the last 5, and has won 3 out of the last 5 races. And I think this is where I'm taking my stand, and I'm going to leave the very chalky Zach Purton horse off. And I will be playing the other two, probably the other two likely shorter prices if I had to guess. I feel like these lightly raced horses always get a bet, and I think the 4 is actually owned by the racing club, so I'm sure that's going to take a lot of public money. But I'm going to fade the 5 here, and I'm just going to go 4 and 7. Matt, where did you land?
Yeah, I looked at it similar to you. I saw those 4 and the 7, and my immediate reaction was, "Oh, look, like first time up, they ran well, they closed." I mean, that's actually a shared race. So if you watch the replay, right? I mean, those horses are finishing 1-2, kind of down the stretch in that race. I- you know, I, when I see horses winning like that at big odds, I think my gut reaction is to try and fade them the next out. And so I wasn't sure really what to make of it, right? If that's a strong race, if that race comes back really well, and I Give was in that race as a horse, I like I Give because, kind of that speedball. It's a horse that's won a lot of races in a row. So I do think it's a strong race. And I agree with you as A's. I just thought, hey, maybe they're overbet, and I kind of want to see can I go elsewhere in here, just because I think they're going to take a lot of money and maybe too much money, especially picking up weight because they both ran 1-2 last time. So I'm going to use them as B's. I went 2 other places. There's kind of some horses that I really liked. I think as price plays in here, and kind of as a get out, I'm trying to decide even which one I like better. The first one is the 3 Amazing Victory. For anyone who's watched replays, right? I mean, definitely watch this one. I think I talked about this race before. It's a race where there's a horse that breaks out of the gate. I think it's Keith Young gets tossed on a horse like kind of immediately out of the gate, and the horse actually is probably incredibly well trained because it immediately ducks to the rail and kind of skims the rail the whole way around. And what it does is it clears everybody off of the rail and kind of screws the race over entirely, right? They all have to kind of clear the path. And that's kind of where this 3 Amazing Victory ended up. It kind of had that okay rail trip last time from the 2 post. But the 13 horse is kind of, because it's not carrying 115 pounds, gets a trip inside. He has to shift out, and then once he gets into the stretch, he kind of gets walled behind horses, tries to shift out 3 pass, gets walled behind horses again. The horse has no room, and then just doesn't have time to recover. And Hong Kong does actually a couple of replays. They do a replay of the race itself, and then they do what's called a pass-through replay. A pass-through replay is it shows you what happens actually after the line. You can just watch that, right? You could say, okay, how did they finish? Um, my my guilty pleasure is betting horses who run well after they finish. It's
Hmm.
awful
The
because that
gallop
means,
out.
they can't, yeah, I'm a big gallop out guy. I'm like, wow, look at all the energy they had left. And that just means that they probably weren't suited for that distance. And then, of course, I'd bet them again at that distance and they suck. So, hey, but in this case, right, I do think that's a valuable replay because that horse had a lot of energy that it could not expend given it was kind of blocked off in the stretch. So, to me, that says, hey, it had some ability that it couldn't use in that race. Obviously, it gets a jock upgrade from Derek Long up to Hugh Bowman, so that's a plus for me. I think there's a lot to like there, and I think that's a place I'll go with an A just because of that replay and because of what I think it has the ability to do that's probably not on the paper there. The other horse that I liked was the 8 Flagship Warrior, actually the horse that Hugh Bowman jumps off in this case. Um, I think I like the horse shortening back up, right? It's been running, kind of those 1 turn miles the last couple races. It's been running at Happy Valley, the 2 turn races. The race before that, I think it was at Sha Tin, but drawn in the 14 post. So, to me, that's an excuse. If you look at the figs, I think it could stand out, and I think it's on the improve too, which would make sense as a 5-year-old horse. It's a deep closer for sure. Does the race set up for a deep closer? That's always the question, right? How the course will play that day. But the rails are in from what they were. a couple times ago, right? When you're running on the C+3, they're all the way out. A+3 is kind of that second setting in. So I think the figs fit. I think the 4 pound allowance that it gets from last time out, right? Last time it was running at 131 because it doesn't probably want to run it a mile. Hey, you get 4 pounds now. So I think it's got a good draw this time. I think it's probably primed to take a good run at this one, and it'll probably be a good price given all the other kind of ability in the race. So the 3 and the 8 are where I went as some pretty good price plays. And then, like I said, I'll use the 4 and the 7 probably underneath in case that race just was so much stronger that they're gonna blow this field away. So
Yeah, the only other horse I wanted to talk about in this race, and I think this is just, I mean, it's just a shame where this horse got drawn, is the 9 horse Fun Together. I think this is a great exotic play. See what kind of price you got. Including a Quinella in the bottom of your tries. I think that there's a shot that this horse kind of gets out there and maybe gets on the lead. And you're looking back at that green and white race where you said there was just some absolute nonsense going on with the loose horse, and this horse was in the 14 post that race and was pushed to get up to second with all that nonsense. So, um, you know, you look back at the 3 races before that, was coming off 3 straight wins. Did jump up in class, and was doing them in, drawn mid in the middle, 7, 11, 6. So yeah, I mean, if I would have seen like the 10 post or something, maybe I would have, been a little bit more inclined to use this horse. But I think is up against it out in the 13 post. I think that's a real tough post to do anything with the speed horse. But I thought that the 9 was very interesting from an exotic standpoint. So one to keep an eye on for using in exotics. Anything else in this race?
I don't think in this race. I did look at the Group One since in case you ask me about other races, I
Oh, okay. We can go
scrolled
to
back
Group
up to
One.
yeah, big surprise. I think Romantic Warrior dusts the whole field by 9 lengths, but hey,
Oh, what race is that?
I race 7 right
Oh,
just before this, right? So if
gotcha.
any if you have any Australian listeners who are able to bet those pick fours, quaddy as they call it, I'm kind of jealous because I always see people post on Twitter like, oh, here's my quaddy plays, and it's funny because all of them seem to play like these massive tickets, like 8 by 5 by 4 by 6, and I'm like, what the hell? But then I remember that these are big fields, and they're still hard to hit when you do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think we talked before, right? AM Wager has the exotics bonus, and look, Romantic Warrior probably is just much better than this field, but I think for me, the couple horses that stand out underneath, 3 straight Aaron probably wants this, 2 turns, right? Going 2000. And I think 10 5G patch probably can, hit the board too. So to me, if I had a slam on this card entirely, I would just say, okay, play those 2 horses underneath Romantic Warrior, or even play them in a try. Kind of play that big base, ice cold ticket. Um, and given hey, you're getting some free bonus money on it, I think this is the spot where I'm going to try and use it all up if I don't hit anything else on the card. So yeah, probably not a great play giving out Romantic Warrior as a 1 to 5 shot, but maybe some ways to make it play by throwing some other horses underneath it that I think have shown more than the rest of the field. So,
Yeah, the last time we saw Romantic Warrior, I think I was all over Luxembourg again in that race, and just came up a little short there.
go
But
back to the tried and true.
yeah, yeah, I was a little bit interested in the 2 horse here on the stretch out, but I think last time did win a race going the 2,000 meters, but I don't know if that's necessarily what this horse wants to do. And I'm guessing with Zach, you're not going to get much of a. Well, I mean, maybe it depends. I guess how much money Romantic Warrior takes, but
I think it's going to take all the money, but I do think that too probably is a second choice. And I
yeah,
just think to your point, I think there's some other horses that probably will relish the the 2-turn distance, and I don't think that 2 fits that to me. So that's why I was like, okay, maybe there's an opportunity, even if the 3 and the 10 or the third and fourth choices in there. It's not going to pay a lot, but if you make it a bigger base, maybe you get some payout on it. So
Yeah, I think the likely leader, the 7 Money Catcher, is a little interesting. If you look, he's got a couple of back races that are at least in the ballpark of what the winner of this race probably needs to run. So I think that might be a good one to use, to maybe even key with the 1. But yeah, I have a hard time getting around Romantic Warrior in here. All right, well, that's going to do it for us here. Obviously, Matt, I know you'll have your picks listed on at Slow and Steadied on Twitter. I'm at Cherry Drank. We'll have a little bit of Saudi Cup. Well, at least I'll have a Saudi Cup video up a little bit later here on Twitter and on our YouTube Shorts. Obviously, on thewronglead.com. If you don't have an AM Wager account, check out AM Wager by clicking the link in our description. Get the sign-up bonus. Get every sign-up bonus. I just found apparently DraftKings has a race book and they have a sign-up bonus, so maybe I'll clear that one now. Who knows? But we'll catch you guys later.
Stuff.
We'll catch you guys later.
Good luck.